Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever or wherever you're watching this. My name is Teacher Almas, and I'm the KLC Treasure Box Teacher Trainer. So as per my last video, I mentioned about different English qualifications, different exams, different certifications, and in this video, we will briefly go through them one by one. So I will mostly discuss the most highly requested or the most popular ones available. But for that, let me share my screen. So the first one that we have would be the International English Language Testing System, or IELTS exam. So this is mostly for students who wish to study abroad, mostly in English language speaking countries. It is a university requirement. Most universities need proof of your English language proficiency, and they mostly accept or prefer the IELTS exam, IELTS qualification. But other than that, IELTS is also used for people who wish to work or live in English language speaking countries, such as Australia, New Zealand, Canada, the UK, the US, and so on. So this is one of the preferred qualifications or certifications. So I'm not going to go through everything on this website. You can go through this on your own. But what is most important for you to know is this one, actually, the IELTS score scale. So you need to know this one, read this one, go through it on your own, and compare this to the CEFR scale, CEFR qualifications, so that you can understand how it is the same but different, because as mentioned, the CEFR is mostly for general use, but the IELTS exam is for academic and work purposes. So when you make your sales pitch, it is very, very important to understand these two and compare these two and be prepared for any questions that the parents might have. Yeah. Okay, so the next qualification or the next exam that you will hear a lot from parents is this one, the admissions exams for international students. So you will meet a lot of parents who aspire to send their child to study in Singapore, mostly public schools in Singapore. So the thing is, when they want to go to public schools in Singapore, they do have to take an exam. So this exam is by the Ministry of Education of Singapore, where international students, they need to sit for an exam before they can register to any public schools in Singapore. However, before they can sit for the exam, they do need to take a Cambridge assessment, Cambridge English assessment, a year prior to their registration. So again, you can go through this. Everything is available on the website. You can read, you can go through on your own. But what's most important is that you actually go through the relevant tests here, where each age have a certain expectation, where each age they do have expected results if you want to qualify to study in a public school in Singapore. So again, this one is mostly for public schools. If international students who want to study in Singapore, they do have to take an exam. But before they take the exam, they do have to sit for a Cambridge English assessment. So, but if they want to study in international schools or private schools in Singapore, they don't have to take this one. Yes, so everything is available on the website. You just need to go through it on your own. And last but not least, we have the Malaysian University English Test. This one, actually, we don't have a lot of parents asking about this exam, because this exam is mostly for local Malaysian students who wish to further studies in local public universities. So it's not highly requested, or it's not mostly talked about because it's just meant for local students. But again, it is very, very important for you to know the different qualifications available, the different exams available, and how these different exams, different certifications compare and are somewhat similar to one another. Again, mostly when you do your sales pitch, you are prepared for any questions that these parents might ask. And as you can read here, there's the information in this booklet, which includes MUET CFR aligned test. Specifications applies to the session 1 to 2021 and thereafter until further notice. So even our MUET examinations are CEFR aligned. All the more you need to know and be familiar with the different qualifications. So again, they are somewhat similar, but they are different in its purpose, as well as the different for the different purpose and for the different students. So, but only these three is the most highly requested and most discussed in KLC and in Malaysia, and for AEIS mostly for Johor, for the Johor branches. But all the more, if you can do your sales pitch mentioning that, even in Singapore education, they use the Cambridge English assessment. So yeah, again, you can go through these websites on your own. I will link it in the drive, and then once you're done, you need to do the Google quiz for you to answer the questions, to test your understanding, to test your knowledge, and all the best.